Welcome! Today we're going to be talking all about how to set your freelance rate as a graphic designer. This could also apply to other creative industries as well, so take it with what you will and feel free to jump around. There's a lot of different topics I'll be covering today, and I have them all broken down into sections along the bottom, so go ahead and jump into different ones that you are most curious about learning about. Otherwise, we will dive in order with all these different 5 sections. If you're new to my channel, my name is Kelsey. I'm a graphic designer. I share a lot of content around freelancing and having my own business and just working with clients and behind the scenes. So if you like that type of content, feel free to subscribe and stick around. I would love to have you here. I've been freelancing for about 3 years now. It's been a transition of part-time, falling into it, and full-time. So there's all different topics I can cover on this, and I'm excited to share everything I've learned so far with you. If you have any questions on it, you can always message me over on Instagram or leave a comment down below, and I would be so happy to provide more details to you. Otherwise, let's jump into the first section. There's a variety of considerate factors that you need to remember when you are thinking about freelancing. There's obviously a different level that you're going to have to reserve for compared to if you had a full-time salary job. There's a great list, and it can probably go even longer than what I have already, but I'm just going to cover a few different factors that you want to consider when setting your freelance rate. So first one is PTO. Obviously, you're not going to have paid time off, but you need to account for taking time off when it comes to freelancing. You can't work 24/7, and it's not likely that you can have 40 billable hours for 52 weeks in the year. That's kind of not ideal because you will burn yourself out and you need to take breaks, and you also need to spend time with your friends and family and loved ones and relax. So I like to make sure I build that into my rate. You also need to consider health insurance. This is a really great benefit when you are a salary employee, at least here in the US. But if you don't have access to their insurance plans, you have to find a substitute, and that is important to consider because that could be expensive. You might have a partner that could assist you in this and carry the insurance, which would be great and ideal, but if not, you need to also factor into that as your payment with your overall freelance rate. You need to consider your products and memberships. I have a lot when it comes to graphic design. So of course we have like the Adobe Creative Suite. I have new technology pieces that I'm purchasing and buying and upgrading, and just having that income that's going to be allowing you to source your product as well, because that is typically items that you would just receive from your full-time job. You need to factor in ongoing learning opportunities as well. This is extremely important as you are continuing to grow your expertise and evolve with the industry, especially when it comes to graphic design. There's so much to continue to be learning, so you need to also consider that when you are setting your rate. Lastly, retirement is a big aspect to consider, that you'll need to be setting aside money for your future when you want to retire one day and have that come out of your income that is being developed now. Now, I am a graphic designer, so I avoid math as much as I can really, but it's obviously a huge aspect when it comes to finances. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw out a breakdown for you. One way I look at setting an income is by looking at your overall salary that you'd want to ideally earn in a year. So for example, if you want to have a $75,000 goal of your income, that would break down to about 30 hours of billable work per week is a good goal, and that would be reserving the 10 plus hours for internal and communication and marketing needs. That's as if you were planning to work 40 hours weeks. And then if you want to take 2 weeks off in a year, that would be 50 working weeks that you have. And then overall, that would break down to your $75,000 salary income divided by the 50 weeks that you were working, which equals $1,500, divided by the amount of hours a week that you're gonna work, which is 30 hours, and that comes out to $50. So your ideal freelance rate would be $50 per hour. This is just an example of how you can break it down. Obviously, it's going to depend on a lot of factors, what you set for that salary level, but that is one area that I look into breaking down a salary. Experience and value really play into how this affects your salary. Obviously, if you are entry level, you are probably going to set your rate a lot lower. And then if you are more expertise or coming out of a full-time job, you might have a higher rate. Ultimately, your goal is to make money for the less amount of time to work, but you also need to have credibility in the value that you are providing, and that's just something that's going to continue to evolve with your expertise. I would recommend setting your salary expectations high, but also making it realistic as well. If you're just beginning your career, you might set your rate at $50,000, which is completely okay. And it's just something to remember that you can always raise your rates along the way. So it's something you can continue to revisit and allow yourself to expand and grow in. Lastly, just overall, just take into consideration what your background already is in. So if you are maybe self-taught and you're just starting out, your rate might be a bit lower than someone that may have gone to school for graphic design or even received a master's in graphic design or also have spent time in the industry already. That's just years being built into this practice that you are completely valued at, and you should consider that when setting your rate. It's ideal to compare these to typical price points. So every graphic designer is different, but basically for an entry level, you see about $25 to $50 an hour as the rate. For mid-level, you see about $65 to $100. And at the higher end, you see about $150 to $300. Again, that just factors into so much of your background and your expertise and your demand with your clients. Today we were talking a lot about the hourly aspect of it, but I do want to touch on if you do package rates as well. A lot of times creatives will charge a flat fee for a project. This has a lot of benefits because it allows you to work without having to track your hours, which is huge because that takes away time in your day. But it also allows you to just get in and focus on the project. Sometimes you might experience and get done with the project before the hours that would accumulate to are all used up, which is great. Sometimes it might take you more times, which is the downside to it. But ultimately, you are getting paid for your work that you've already developed and your skills about how quickly you can get something done. I personally do both ways, and I continue to do both. I will do hourly when it comes to a retainer-based project, and then I will do a flat rate fee if it is a one-off project, for example, a style guide with me or brand strategy or something like that, or if the client just requests it. It's something that I compare and look into, but it's up to every creative on what their preference would be there. That's a wrap on this video. I hope this helps you when you're starting a creative journey. Hope this provides some insight. There's so much you can learn about this, and everyone does do it differently, and I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. So feel free to drop a message or send me one over on Instagram. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.